this is Dave Wyndorf from Monster Magnet, and you're listening to BackstageAxxess.com, where the real show begins.
This is Chris with BackstageAxxess.com, and we are here today with the mastermind behind Monster Magnet, Dave Wyndorf. Good morning, Dave. Welcome to BackstageAxxess.com. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us today. How are you doing?
I'm very well, Chris. How are you?
I'm hanging in there this morning.
Where are you? What state are you?
I'm in North Carolina.
Oh, very good. I'm in beautiful central New Jersey.
Now, let's talk about the new record, Cobras and Fire. Now, you said this is kind of an alternative reworking of 2010's Mastermind album. So just tell us a little bit about, your overall approach to the project and what you kind of hope to achieve from this.
I wanted to make the Mastermind, I wanted to take certain songs from the Mastermind record and some of the ones that were actually relegated to B-sides and stuff,
okay,
plus a couple other new items, and make something that was more psychedelic and odder, just a stranger, more cobbled together, creepier vibe than the original.
Okay.
The original one came out, and I was happy with it. Kind of at the time, I did it really, really fast, but right after that record, I kind of got on a roll in a style of working that I really enjoyed. It was definitely like just creeping things up. So I was like, why not? Why not just do it to this?
Okay.
So I did.
Now, this isn't the first time you've done this type of thing, because last year you did a rearrangement of Last Patrol for Milking the Stars. Are you?
Yeah, that's what got me on it. I did both of these things pretty much in a row, right after each other. I realize that there really aren't any rules anymore, as far as releasing records or what you release.
Right.
I mean, there was at one point, I guess, back in the dinosaur days of major releases, where a record company would stand and go, "No, you can't release the same record," even though it's really not.
Right.
They'd be like, "Oh, the public perception will be as if, why are you doing this?" And that doesn't exist anymore. I mean, it's like the Wild West out there. I can do anything I want. There's no rules. So why not just reimagine stuff? And when I reimagine stuff, this is not just a remix. This is a completely different beast. This is like insanely different, I think.
Right. A lot of bands just put out they'll add a little, club mix to their record, and they put out a whole new album. And then
this is not that.
This is definitely not that.
Definitely no. In fact, I hate to use the word in it because it brings that up. People go, "Oh, it's a remix," but no, dude, it's like you may not even recognize it.
Right. There's a lot going on. Now, two of the songs that you took the vocals out of, what was behind your decision to do that, like on Time Machine and
yeah, that's right. Yeah, I took the vocals out. As I was redoing tracks on it, I just realized that really, really quickly that for this album, it didn't need the vocals. Like the way the songs were placed, it didn't seem to me like the vocals were getting in the way. And it's like I wanted something different out of the vibe of the album in that particular sequence. Okay, song number 7. It's like, I don't want to hear this guy singing. Ooh, I'm actually talking about myself. So I just took them off. It's one of the perks about being the producer and the leader of the band. I can actually fire the singer because he's me.
Right.
So I was like, get out.
So now, did you have ideas coming into the project, of what you wanted to do to the songs, which songs you wanted to add, take out, or did it just kind of, you just started from scratch and just kind of said, let's just totally sit down and think about what I want to do here?
I did with the Last Patrol one, I had all that, but with Cobras and Fire, I didn't. I had such a good time doing this. Why don't I just open Cobras and Fire and just dive in? So, which was a big mistake because when I did it, I realized there were 14 songs on the record. So I had to make my way through 14 songs of multi-tracks of all this stuff. quite a few tracks on the Mastermind record, and in the end, I just only pulled out a pile. So most of the stuff, I had a basic idea of what kind of instruments I wanted to bring in,
right?
Which is stuff I don't usually use on Monstermatic records, which is a lot of '60s old organs, tons of oddly tuned guitars, all the stuff that you could probably never replicate live. I knew what the wish list of instruments were. I just had to make that fit into the reimagination.
Right, and you have. Let's talk a little bit about Ball of Confusion, the Temptations cover on there. Where did that idea come from?
Happened to be like this weird jam that I had done on the Mastermind sessions with Phil Cavano on bass and Bob Pantel on drums. And I just wanted a Hawkwind groove. Not for a song. It wasn't arranged as a song. It wasn't even anything. I just asked those guys to lay it down. I'll play guitar. Just lay it down. I just want to hear what it sounds like.
Okay.
Full-on Lemmy-style bass, like this driving thing. And then we did it for like 10 minutes, and I was like, wow, that was great. Now, I don't know what to do with it, so let's get on with the rest of the record. When I pull my phone, and I do that stuff all the time, and that was really fun. And then I pulled it out for reimagination, and I was like, oh, look, what am I going to do with this? This is cool. So I guess maybe I'll just do space rock guitar over top of it and just leave it like a jam. But for some reason, I started singing Ball of Confusion over it. Just sitting there in the studio going, Ball of Confusion. I don't know why. Maybe I heard Ball of Confusion on the radio or something, like a week before. But that was it. At that point, I was like, that's it. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make this into a Hawkwind version, as if Hawkwind had covered Ball of Confusion by the Temptations.
Right. Well, I actually went back and I had to listen to the original by the Temptations again to kind of see what they had going on.
It's amazing. What they have going on is like so much different from this.
Right. Right. I mean,
I love that song.
You put a cover song out there, and everybody says, if you can't do it better, you at least have to do it so different than the original. But it's funny because when I was listening to the original, that is one of the Temptations' more jammier tunes. They do kind of have a little psychedelic vibe there in the middle going on themselves.
Yeah, totally. I mean, that was at the peak of psychedelic soul in the late '60s, early '70s. Psychedelic. Boy, I wish that would come back. That's a style. I want psychedelic soul music. Yeah, and Ball of Confusion was it because it was such a paranoid song. I love it because it's paranoid. It's a song not about girl meets boy or anything. It's a soul group actually singing about, like, I'm going to lose my shit because the world's gone insane. The world has gone insane. I love it.
And still going.
Oh, yeah. Something, that song fits just fine today.
Exactly.
Totally apropos.
Now that you've done two of your, I'm going to say, later records, doing the remix type thing, are you itching to get your hands on any of your older stuff and kind of rework that?
Yeah, I was thinking that there's a record called Super Judge, which I'd really love to get my hands on, because that was one of the earlier, a very early record in my career that I never thought I had actually given everything I could have to it. I made a lot of mistakes on it, so Super Judge, that would be the one I would want to do.
Okay, cool. Well, what about new music? Are you working on anything now, or?
Yeah, now's the time for me to start. Just starting to write now. I had to take some time. We did like 5 years straight, so I was blown out. My mind was burned. So I just rode my bicycle for a couple months and got really nice and bored, and now it's time to start writing a new one. Although we probably will tour this before that new one really gets recorded. So we'll be some kind of touring in 2016.
Okay, great. That was going to be my next question about hitting the road now. Are you going to try to duplicate some of these reworkings for the tour, or is that going to be almost impossible to do for you guys out on the road?
That's the question now. Really, for us, it's like, I guess I would have to, hire a keyboard player,
right?
To come out, because the keyboards have such a lot to do. But I'd really like to try it. Okay. I'd like to try it. If I don't do that, then we'll probably do a tour of the Monstermatic A&M years, which is all the A&M records that we did in the 90s and early 2000s are being reissued this year. So we could pull that off too.
Okay, so there's a lot going on, a lot to look forward to.
Yeah, actually, there's a lot of Monster Mags coming up this year. It's amazing. I've been around for 26 years. It's crazy. I've been around for 26 years, and then I've got like 4 records coming out in the same year. I've never.
Okay, well, that's awesome. Well, we'll look forward to that. Hopefully you'll get out on the tour here in the States a little bit and have some dates that we can check out.
Yeah, I hope so.
Now, the last question I had for you is, you always ask who are your biggest musical influences, but I wanted to see if there was a particular influence of yours as far as the reworking of these songs that you kind of had in mind when you were doing this record.
Yeah, the more there was, I think one of the ones that stuck in my mind for a lot of the songs. There's a couple different types of songs, so there was a couple different influences, but one of the biggest one was the band called The Music Machine.
Okay.
From the late 60s, 68. Like, it was kind of garage band and garage psych band. It was a really, really cool band. Music Machine, Iron Butterfly.
Okay.
Was another one. I kept listening to Iron Butterfly. Those were a big deal.
Okay.
For me. Yeah, because of the organ and the way the guy sang, and it's just really, there's a real thing that went on in the mid to late 60s with the vocalists, with these white guys trying to sing gospel influence, trying to sing like soul, but they're singing psychedelic songs. It's a whole different way of singing. That's completely gone now. It's gone. But for some reason, I'm really into it, and I tried it.
And it works out great for this record.
Yeah, I mean, it's really big. It's cool because it's fun to sing. I mean, you go, it's like, really like a mad preacher kind of thing, and I love it.
That's so cool. Now, your music is just so different from most of the stuff that's out there today, and you really don't fit into a particular, I would say, genre. And maybe that's the highest compliment that someone can give you, because it's just so different and varied. But if you had to describe your sound, what would you say?
I guess I'd call it, to make it easy, I would say psychedelic rock music.
Okay.
So there would be both of those words in it. People would be prepared for some psychedelia, but they'd also be prepared for rock. And I'd always avoid words like metal, because it's not metal. Although we get, it's usually when a band that's loud and unclassifiable, they usually get put in the metal, in the metal bins. So yeah, I would just say psychedelic rock.
Awesome. And what it is good music, and you really don't need anything to describe that. It just is.
Aw, gee, thanks.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for taking the time with us today. I hope everybody gets a chance to check this out, because there's some really cool stuff going on. And they'll miss it if they haven't, heard this new one. They're going to want to check it out for sure.
Hell yeah.
Thank you, Dave, for taking the time to talk with us today.
Thank you very much.